watched the Sandman, the new Netflix show, and just want to have a brief conversation about it. So I'm here with Nicole. What did you think of it?
Well, having only read the first few issues of the comic book graphic novel series, I can't speak to how closely it aligns or it deviates from that work. I overall enjoyed it. I thought that the fantastical world of the dream realm compared to the so-called real world of the human realm, I thought it was rendered in really...
The waking realm.
Yeah, the waking realm. I thought that it was rendered in interesting ways. One of my biggest criticisms, and again, I'm not sure how this is handled in the graphic novels, is that there were some cool characters that we didn't really get to spend a lot of time with, and I know that's part of the format of the show as well.
Which characters?
So there was the character of... So there's one character in particular, Hob Gadling. He was a human who in the 1300s declared over a kind of drunken tavern, talk, gathering with friends that he wasn't going to die. And Dream and his sister Death were walking through the tavern. Death was trying to get Dream to kind of understand humankind a little bit better. And so when they overheard Hob declare that, they made a bet, right? Like Dream thought for sure within 100 years that Hob would want to die. And I don't know, not to give everything away, there's it was interesting, like the concept of a human who chooses not to die, and how he reacts to different experiences throughout his life, and the kind of the interesting dynamic between Dream and Hob. I wish they would have had more time to explore that, and maybe in future seasons they will. And again, I guess I do want to read the graphic novel now to see how that's rendered very differently. But I would have liked more of that, for instance.
More of the minor characters.
Yeah. Some of the minor characters, Hob being one of them, because I thought that was compelling. The human who decides that he's not going to die, and then Death allows him to not die.
I really liked Joanna Constantine, the occult detective, the demon hunter. I thought she was really interesting. I wish there was more of her. Also, I really like Corinthian. I feel like Corinthian was almost as present as Morpheus. Corinthian seemed like he was the main villain, which I'm trying to resist spoilers. It's interesting the way he leaves the show, because he's like this main villain and there's this confrontation. That part was a little interesting.
Just to see how Dream was interacting with his creations, from the dreaming world, I really liked that. I hope that we get to see more of that in future seasons as well.
One thing I thought was lacking was, I should say, I really enjoyed the show, but some of the special effects were a little bad. They didn't harmonize with the other special effects. Like, I think that when they did like wide shot vistas of like hell or the dreamland, that was really cool. But when they focused in on actual characters, like there was that one character with the pumpkin head, kind of looked like early generation CGI, unfortunately.
That was Mervyn Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
He was voiced by Mark Hamill.
Well, the voicing was awesome.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was a great voice actor, but he didn't look like he belonged with the other actors. It seemed like it was post-production effects.
Right.
I mean, it was post-production effects, but like really good effects, you forget that this person was added in, and I didn't forget that this was like a CGI overlay.
Yeah, I have a similar criticism as well. And it might just be, I don't know exactly how Netflix supports its shows, so I'm assuming it's things out of my, realm of knowledge. It could have looked better, but, they did have a pretty big cast. They had a lot of really well-known actors, like Stephen Fry played...
Stephen Fry was great.
One of the errant dreams. As I mentioned, Mark Hamill was doing a voice. Let me see, I'm trying to remember who else was in there. Gwendolyn Christie was Lucifer.
Oh, she was great.
And she was really good. Yeah, I thought the way that they rendered Lucifer in this show was super interesting. And just the costuming, I thought was really good, too, for her.
Her hairstyle was so strange and appropriate. It was like a librarian's hairstyle, but like it just reeked of evil. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, and speaking of librarians, let's see, Vivian...
No offense to librarians, by the way. Like, stereotypical librarian.
Yeah, so Vivian Akapong, I'm probably mispronouncing her last name. She played Lucian, and I really liked Lucian as the librarian of the Dreaming, and kind of the interactions that she and Dream have. And actually, it's probably one of the most consistent and best developed relationships in the whole show. But I liked Lucian as a character quite a bit. So I'm excited to see what happens, and kind of the way that the show ends. I'm excited to see what happens with her in future seasons.
Yeah.
I also liked her costuming. I thought that the outfit she wore was really cool.
Patton Oswalt as the,
He was the Raven.
Matthew the Raven. Yeah, the emissary, Dream's emissary. His voice, I think he has a great voice, but I don't know, it just didn't work with the atmosphere. Like, the atmosphere was like real serious and kind of grim sometimes. I mean, there's some humor, but like he was just like clownish in an appropriate way for what he does. But I don't know, it just jarred with me.
I agree. I like Patton Oswalt a lot. I mean, he's hilarious, but his voicing of the Raven was just a little. It felt out of place, in my opinion. I mean, still good, but just wasn't quite what I would have wanted. I think my favorite episode was the one with Dream and Death. I thought that one was the most touching episode.
Oh my gosh, that was pretty emotional. When she was going around and describing what she thinks about their function. Yeah.
No, I thought that was probably the most emotionally impactful episode. And it was neat to see, again, more of a prolonged interaction between Dream and one of his siblings. We get a few other siblings throughout the show so far. Desire and Despair. We don't meet Destiny and Delirium yet.
One thing that I thought was really interesting was Desire, the way Desire was represented. Desire looked more female in the comic book, but then looked more androgynous in the show. Like I thought that the character of Desire was just like really compelling and also disturbing. Like and you often say like we use filmmakers will use setting to characterize. Like Dracula's castle helps us know who Dracula is. I think they did a really good job with like Desire's lair, helping characterize this character that extremely red, crimson. I don't know what you would call that. It's almost like a womb that Desire hangs out in. It was just really cool. I mean, I really liked the storyline with Rose Walker. That actress, was it Kyo Ra? I think that's how you say her name. She was the Vortex, the Dream Vortex. I don't want to spoil anything, but the strangeness of the conference, the interactions between her and the Corinthian, all of the dream sequences, where she's discovering things about her friends through their dreams. I thought that was really compelling. One thing that I guess didn't work for me with the show, and maybe I should be more patient, was I'm used to watching shows either as unified narratives, right, serialized storytelling where each episode builds on the next and you get this overarching story, or the show is like episodic. Each episode is contained, one-off, and you move on, you just get the same characters. This was doing both of those things. So I think the first 3 episodes kind of contain a narrative arc that's finished. Then you get some episodic ones, and then you get another narrative arc. That was just, maybe it's on me, but I'm not used to working in that way. Does that make sense? Like I'd like one or the other, but I don't know. Maybe that's the future. You get different writers want to have like one story, have an episode that's like the X-Files did this. The X-Files, you had the mythos stories, the aliens, whereas like the overarching narrative of the X-Files was told, and then you'd have the monster of the week or the the comedy episodes. Maybe that's something they're going for with this, and it's probably harmonizes with the way the comic book was published. And
that was my thought. It was more. They were indebted more to just the narrative structures of the comics, rather than specific choices that they were trying to make as, you know, showrunners, filmmakers.
Yeah. It's a good show.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Check